Hey everybody, Mike Naso here from podweather.com with an update on the tropics, and I gotta tell you, for July 17th, it is pretty darn active in the Atlantic. We have 3 invests, a tropical storm, and a few waves out there. Bertha is still a tropical storm out here, weakening, getting caught up. It's going to become extra tropical and head on out, and we're not going to have to deal with it anymore. In the Caribbean, we have 2 invests. One is Invest 94L. The other is Invest 95L, and then off the southeast coast we now have Invest 96L from our system that was near Florida, moving on up, and yet again another tropical wave that has left Africa, not looking all that good, but still something to watch nonetheless. Let's take a look at Bertha. As of 5 p.m. it was at 34.0 north, 57.2 west. Maximum sustained winds were down to 60 miles an hour, gusting to 70. It's moving east at 11, straight east, and that pressure is 997 millibars, and it's expected to move more northeast straight out and become extra tropical, but it could strengthen a bit as it's becoming non-tropical because it's a very impressive circulation. Taking a look at the latest visible satellite loop, look at the end there, the way the sun hits the bottom cloud deck here, and still a eye feature and a formidable tropical cyclone. Do not think by any means that there aren't high seas and gusty winds with this. But certainly you can see Bermuda down here and the center of Bertha moving straight east as the advisory says. So hopefully we'll be able to say goodbye to Bertha pretty soon, but it is still something to contend with and talk about. Now elsewhere in the tropics, you can see on the visible as Bertha spins here straight to the east as the sun goes down, we have 2 systems in the Caribbean. The first system in the Caribbean that you'll notice spinning is down here in the eastern Caribbean, and this is our Invest 94L. Recon was out there zigzagging all around it, no center, it's an open wave. And then we have an even more interesting feature, I think, here, Invest 95L, a very favorable environment around it, hot water, good shape and form, developing a circulation it looks like, but it's running into Central America. However, that does not mean that this system could not be an entity in either the Bay of Campeche or the Gulf of Honduras or in the Gulf of Tehuantepec down here in the eastern Pacific. So we're going to talk about both of these systems. Now the first one down here in the southwest Caribbean, this is 94L and southeast Caribbean rather, and it's expected to kind of continue westward over the next few days, maybe slightly northwest. And again, we're not really looking for any quick development. Wind shear is high, but it's going to be getting a little bit more favorable. But these models are trending that it will generally bend more towards the north or northwest. I'm not buying that yet. It's pretty weak, and it's going to be caught up here. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up moving into Nicaragua. But then again, the models do show some northward adjustment. So if I were in the Yucatan, western Cuba, Jamaica, as well as Central America, I'd be keeping an eye on this system because there is potential that this could develop over the next several days. Now the one closer to Nicaragua is right near the coast is where that low pressure is trying to develop, and it's going to move gradually westward it looks like, and this could certainly become a feature in the eastern Pacific, maybe even a tropical storm or a hurricane once it gets out here if it does. However, there is a chance it might bend a little bit more northwesterly, and as some of the models indicate, some of the tropical moisture with it could get in the Bay of Campeche and spin up, so we'll have to watch that. We've had systems in the past that have looked very impressive down here that have ended up here, so we'll wait and see. You can see the climatology, the CLIP model does show that that general track is what we typically see, but the flow is pretty good towards the west, so this could end up in the eastern Pacific. Regardless, you can see our 2 systems and the pattern that's going on with it. Our favorable anticyclone over 95L is shearing 94L, and they're both waves, but if I had to pick a circulation in one of them, I'd have to say this one's starting to form a circulation, but again, it's moving into land. But regardless, both of these could become tropical depressions or storms over the next 24, 36, 48 hours until they either run into land or dissipate. So it's very active, and we're going to have to keep an eye on it. Now you can see Invest 96 here is sitting right off the Georgia coastline and is forecast to move by models generally north or northeast, and that could risk making landfall somewhere along the Carolina coastline, maybe even the Georgia coastline. Now, of course, landfall could be anything. A thunderstorm could make a landfall. It doesn't have to be a tropical cyclone. But looking at the latest radar, you can see there is good rotation here. So there's definitely some low pressure with that. And it is bringing in some hefty amounts of moisture, especially offshore. You can see some better moisture. And when we take a look at it on IR, you can see it is trying to blow up some thunderstorms. So this, sitting over the warm waters, could do something. Shear is relatively low for it, so it might be able to organize a bit, but don't expect anything overly significant. This should move generally north or northeast, as the models say. There you can see another look at Bertha. Further out, a tropical wave has moved off Africa. It's not looking all that good, kind of elongated in an odd southwest-northeast fashion here. But the long-range models are showing that by this time next week, we could have a pretty decent low pressure that could become a storm, maybe even a hurricane moving off Africa. And we're almost to August, folks, so this is crunch time. In the eastern Pacific, we have two storms. Hurricane Aleta out here starting to weaken, and Tropical Storm Fausto trying to strengthen here. And taking a look at Aleta first, it's down to 80 miles an hour. Had been up 105 yesterday. It's moving straight west at 980 millibars. It's expected to weaken to a depression and move gradually straight west. You can see here the visible satellite imagery is looking all right. You can see the eyes still, but note these stable air mass right to the west of it. That is going to inhibit development. And what a difference this decent looking visible compared to the IR. The IR looks absolutely disgraceful, so Aleta is definitely on her way out. However, Fausto is on his way in. Winds are 55 to 60 miles an hour, gusting up to 70. It's moving west-northwest at 998 millibars is that pressure, and is forecast to become a 90-mile-an-hour hurricane. But again, it could be a little bit stronger and move generally west-northwest, but it could be further west, it could be further north and east. Right now you can see on the visible, the center of circulation still kind of recovering from all that shearing it's been getting, but it does have a large circulation. Those sometimes take longer to consolidate, and you can see the convection right here bursting close to where the center is. So generally these two systems, Aleta moving straight west on her way out, Fausto moving west-northwest on his way towards hurricane strength the next few days. Finally, in the western Pacific, we do have Typhoon Kalmegi. It's at 24.7 north, 121.4 east. Winds are 85 miles an hour, gusting to 105. It's moving northwest at 11. It's been weakening since it struck Taiwan. It really blew up and did not take the track to the south and west of Taiwan. Instead, it went right over, and is forecast to slam into China as a typhoon, Category 1, and then up towards Korea and Japan as a tropical storm and depression. And 24 hours ago, it was not nearly this impressive. You can see the very, very deep convection and the good organization straight over the island of Taiwan. You can see here Taiwan right there, and the convection of the typhoon straight over that. And over the last 24 hours, you can see our system was sitting to the north of the Philippines, southeast of Taiwan, bursting. 24 hours later, it strengthened even further, and it is now straight over the island, so not a good situation there. Definitely those people should be prepared for a continued impact from this serious typhoon. I'm Mike Naso from IPR. That'll do it on the tropics this time. I'll see you next time, and we'll keep an eye on all three of our invest. I got to tell you, if all three developed, we'd be quite a ways down the name list for this time of year, even if they don't get names. This is a very active July that we will remember. I'll see you next time.